heard about passion, we heard about great ideas. And Europe is full of those. So in our next session, with the name Turbocharging European Innovation, we're going to see what does it need Europe in order to become the next innovation playground. And for that session, we will have with us Laura Modiano, Startups EMEA at OpenAI, and Christian Dorfer, founding and general partner at Defiance Capital. Let's welcome them on stage.
Thank you, thank you. So Laura, welcome. You're back in the hot seat.
Thank you.
Yes. So everybody's talking about ChatGPT and OpenAI, and a lot of those conversations relate to the US and Silicon Valley. It kind of crowds out a lot of the media. But ChatGPT and OpenAI in particular is also a great partner to European startups. So this session is really about supercharging innovation in Europe with the help of OpenAI. But Laura, give us a bit of your background, because you have a special connection to Athens, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. So thank you for the introduction. As you said, I lead startups in EMEA for OpenAI, which means I work with venture capital funds and investors, with founders, with developers, and people who are building startups in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And I ended up at OpenAI after having been born and raised right here in Athens. So I wasn't in Panathēnea, because this is the original one, and I'm very happy to be here at the inaugural one, very proud to come home. But I grew up here. Anyone here has the same opportunities as I did, and I hope to see a lot more Greeks as both founders that I work with, but also in the international stage that I'm part of.
What was innovation and what was the community like when you lived here versus today?
First of all, I think I had world-class education growing up in Greece. There was a lot of aspiration of being well-educated, and I hope for the younger generation that is now in high school to continue to see a desire to be technical. I hear from younger people that I interact with that they're using ChatGPT, that they're trying to train and educate themselves and become technical themselves. I'd like to see that as being part of education as the standard, that everyone has access and potential to be technical. Because what is great about today, and I think maybe we'll get into this in a bit, when I was younger, it used to be that in order to have people build belief in you and conviction, in order for people to follow you, in order for you to start a business, you needed to have a lot of experience in something. So you had to be older. Whereas now, what the change is happening is that younger people have the advantage of technology. And if you understand the systems and the tools, then you don't need to have 30 years experience in an industry. You need to know how to solve problems that you're seeing, even with a bit less business experience, with the right tools. So you're no longer building for the past, but you're building for the present and for the future. And future-proofing the economy locally with people who are here and seeing the problems and how they're experiencing themselves. And also at the same time thinking, well, how are others in other markets doing that? Means you can actually have startups built here, homegrown, that have international success. And as a Greek myself, I am very excited to see that there is this activity, that there are investors who are thinking about the market, and that there is potential to see some great companies built out of Greece.
It's interesting. I meet so many super talented Greeks who in the diaspora, but I meet them in London, in New York, in San Francisco, and elsewhere. How do you get them to kind of move back and contribute to the community here?
It's something that isn't how, but it absolutely must be done. And yes, I am part of this diaspora myself. I think in order for a market to work, and this is why we were talking about angel investing before, every market that I go to, wherever it is, whether it's in Estonia or Stockholm or London or Paris or wherever it is, there are multiple things that need to work at the same time. So you need to have capital, so you need to have venture funding, like you. Thank you for being a great VC, and I hope to see a lot of the amazing investments that you're doing in the future be across all of Europe. So I love the vision that you have with Defiance. So you need to have capital. You need to have people who are willing to take risks. So to say, I don't just want to work in a company that is a 9 to 5, but understand that being a founder and being an entrepreneur means you will work longer hours, you will be solving problems that matter, and you will be building something new. It will take a bit of risk, there will be a period of uncertainty, but once you hit it, boy, does it feel good. And every founder that I talk to is just so passionate about what they do. So people don't live to work or work to live, but live to solve problems to live well. And working at something that you love because it's a problem that gives you passion is very fulfilling. And then the third thing is having others to look around. So having an ecosystem of people that you can share ideas with, whether you're traveling or coming back here. While here, being able to talk to angel investors and feeling that you have advisors, seeing that others who have done it are willing to give back to the community and create that ecosystem as a whole. And then, again, on the idea sharing, knowing that you can hire good talent locally, that you can build something and it's going to be world-class. And that means an education system that allows for technical aptitude at a younger age.
Before we get into the technical parts of this chat, each kind of, like Stockholm and London and Zurich, each have like a different profile, a different DNA. There's a different types of companies that get built there. How does Athens fit into this community? And what will Athens be known for in the tech community in 10 years?
So translating that to every company that solves a problem needs to have a problem market fit or a product market fit. I think what you're saying is that we need to have a founder problem fit. So every market tends to have certain pressures. So in Greece, for example, we have the travel industry. There's definitely a lot of public policy and the public life. Shipping. And then there are other things that are not uniquely Greek, but are European. So you have resilience is a very big issue and topic right now. Anything that is with fishing, farming, agri-tech. Greeks are excellent in science, I would say. So problems don't have to be uniquely Greek for Greeks to solve them out of Greece. It has to be that the people here are seeing problems that they're experiencing themselves, are understanding the importance of solving them, understanding if there is a path of growth to that internationally, and then focusing relentlessly on actually solving that problem.
So do you see Athens becoming a bit of a deep tech hub, or bio, or enterprise software? Where are we headed?
I don't think that there is necessarily one hub that it can or should be. Maybe transportation is one of them, and agri-tech is relevant to that. I think there is a lot of opportunity in that. Potentially, I think the other part, which is GovTech, could be quite interesting. There's a very interesting, what I experienced or remember from my younger age was that people had a strong voice at any age, more than most other markets that I've visited, and I travel a lot. I think young people really like to participate in public life as much as a 60-year-old or 80-year-old. So maybe there's a lot of opportunity in that as well, and how to bridge those voices and improve GovTech as a whole. But there are problems across every part of the market, and I don't think people should only solve what they see. I think there's real value in risk-taking and being the first. So usually we see one person breaking out of the mold and saying, I'm going to build something that doesn't exist and prove a model. And then there are many others that follow a similar model because there's a bit of proof. Being the original risk-taker has huge value.
Earlier we talked a little bit about how in my life, like the App Store and smartphones were critical for building King to such a success, and similar companies. And in many ways, AI and enterprise AI and agentic AI has that potential. How does OpenAI work with startups, and
of course,
how big an opportunity is that for the startup community?
So to take a step back, as I hope all of you have used ChatGPT. If not, please check it out. It is the biggest life hack you'll ever have. So ChatGPT, there was this ChatGPT moment in November 22, so it's been 2.5 years, and the world changed. It was a pivotal moment where how we talk about AI is AI can do time tasks. So when ChatGPT came out, you could go in, you could type questions, and it would give you answers. You could ask, how can I learn about something? And it would give you more information. But that was us interacting with a tool on text. Now that we're moving to agents, we're back in a whole new moment. And this is truly the year of agents, I think voice and agents, actually. And it's no longer just interacting with text and question-answer based, whether it's voice or written, but it's actually the system being able to take autonomous action. So you can ask for it to do whole tasks. So then when we think about AI, and the time bound is, originally AI would do 5-second tasks, ask a question, give an answer. I no longer have to go and do a search and click on multiple things. Then we move to 5-minute tasks, 5-hour tasks, 5-day tasks. How much time is AI helping you save for you? So to give an example, if I wanted to go and book a reservation for dinner for you and I after this event, and I say, you know what, let's have dinner tonight, Friday night in Athens at 7 p.m. in a sushi restaurant, I would give it with ChatGPT, I would just go and say, find me a restaurant, and then it would give the answer. With agentic tools, so we have Operator at OpenAI, which is a computer user agent. I could say exactly the same instructions, but it would then go exactly like I would and browse the web itself. And the tools are now able to do that. So it would go in, it would go online, find multiple restaurants, it would go to OpenTable, maybe like a travel website, etc. Give me a list of multiple restaurants, look at the instructions, find the two options that are best at the exact time scale that I need for the number of people, get all the way to the booking page, and only then would I have to actually sign in, put in my credit card, put in my information, etc. But from giving me the 5-second search, it's now giving me the 5 or 15-minute that actually booking the thing does. So being able to take action autonomously, to browse the web autonomously, to collect information, gather it, and bring it in, build applications itself, and then interact with you when things are done, is a huge leap forward into what is possible.
How easy is it for a founder to get started using OpenAI's products to build
Super easy.
Okay.
Super easy. And again, I think when you think of OpenAI, there's the ChatGPT that you see, and deep research within that, for example, is a great agentic application. I use it for everything. Again, huge life hack. Any kind of research you want to do, using deep research will get you a full PhD level answer in seconds or minutes, depending on what kind of question you have. And then we have the API. So using the API, you can build whatever applications it is that you want and integrate it into your business. The other thing that I would say, and this is something that I always tell people when we're starting to talk about AI, is that where you stand and how you use AI defines your experience and your definition of it. But actually, there are multiple ways to define AI and what its applications are. So my framework, and I love to think in systems, is that there is B2C, so me as a user and direct to consumer, what you're seeing. And then there's everything that happens on the B2B, so business to business. And anyone who's building applications, there's a 2x2, and it's, are you building AI applications and solutions for your staff or for your customers? And are you building it for productivity and for cutting and saving time, being more efficient? Or are you trying to build something new, a new use case that wasn't there? So you came from gaming. If we think about gaming, are you trying to build a tool for the people who are working in a gaming company to create more images and more characters more efficiently? Are you converting a knife into a sword into an axe automatically using AI? So that's an internal tool for your staff that creates productivity. Or on the flip side, are you saying, oh, well, we had all these NPCs, those known playing characters, that now we can offer through AI, chat and interaction and conversation. So now you can interact with them as a player. So this is a customer-facing new use case that just wouldn't be there without AI because it's something that takes too much work and it needs to be automatic. So thinking about these 4 different use cases and how, whether in your business, where your company is bringing in AI tools, how you're using them in your business life, or in your personal life, means that there are multiple applications of potential of AI and multiple problems that can be solved. And sometimes, as we said in the earlier panel, the same problems exist, but new technology allows us to solve them in new ways, which can be the absolute best opportunity of why now to build something new.
I remember in the App Store, I mean, I even invested in a company that was trying to fix bugs in post-production, and it will typically take like a week to do another release and get it approved. And App Store analytics was critical for us in that way. Will you be providing analytics supports to like startups and investors to kind of evaluate everything that's built on the platform to see what works and what's not working, what's popular, what's not popular?
I'm not sure if it's exactly what you're asking, but we do have the Agents SDK and Agent Platform on the API so that people can build with security, with guardrails, with observability. So yes, there is observability, if that's a specific question. And we are working with developers to build the best tools on what they need. And this is actually what I love about my job. I always say 50% of my job is representing OpenAI to Europe, Middle East, and Africa, to the founders, the developers, the investors. The other 50%, and arguably the much more important job, is representing all of you. So anyone who's using our systems, anyone who's my customer, any developer that I talk to who has feedback, bringing that voice back and making sure that what we're building, that our tools are responding to what you need rather than what the perception of the company is extremely important to me. So representing the EMEA voice back to San Francisco. And 100% of my role is taking feedback back in. Because we don't just ship. We ship stuff that matters and that is built with developers and with feedback.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because AI is moving so quickly, OpenAI is moving so quickly, and you can build really quickly, but everybody can build really quickly, right? So if it's going to be worthwhile the founder's time to solve a certain problem, it's really useful to know how likely are they to succeed. Are they the first to do it? I mean, the number of puzzle games in Candy Crush's category that's out there is insane. So it's good to be able to use data and analytics to kind of understand what has been done, what has not been done. If you're a founder in Greece or Munich or somewhere, yeah.
Deep research can help you with that.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, deep research is great.
That's good. So deep research, everybody.
Yes.
Before you start putting too much effort and capital, sacrifice your life to solve a problem, use deep research to see what has been done in this space before.
So in case you haven't used it, and if you've used ChatGPT, if you ask ChatGPT a question and you say, who are the competitors of Candy Crush? Or I want to build a game, like tell me about this. It'll give you a direct answer. And then there's a model picker, and you can choose if you're using 4.0 or 3 or whatever, if you want more reasoning, more of a direct answer. I would suggest always ask it to give you question by question or turn answers to say, give me an answer, then ask me follow-up questions to get to what you want. With deep research, instead of it thinking for like 2-3 seconds, you can ask a question that's a lot deeper, and then it will have follow-up questions itself to make sure that it understood you and it gives you a broader response. So it won't just say, here are the competitors, or here are other companies. It will say, are you looking for Europe, for Greece? Which market are you looking at? Are you looking for companies that were founded between this year and this year? What kind of information do you want? And then you actually get a multi-page report. I did one recently for an angel investment I had, and I literally had 25 pages that were developed at PhD level of exactly what the market looks like, what the trends are, who's investing, why, what recent news, what developments, what regulation has come in, why right now is a better time, and what has changed from a political perspective or the banking perspective, etc. So I had a much more informed mind coming into it. Had I been a founder thinking, okay, how do I enter the space? I now have the full research as to, do I take this risk or that risk? How do I defend this position to my team, people I'm hiring, and what I'm developing, as well as to the investors that are backing me. And I want to have that conviction as a founder.
I think it's really about accelerating the speed of learning and execution. Whether you raise capital or not, keeping a team together and executing, it's really about cycle times. I mean, I'm really blown away as an investor at how quickly I can learn something. It's like seconds.
Yeah.
As a founder, I wish I had this tool when I was founding my companies in the past, because my goodness, we could have accelerated much faster.
Well, I think maybe to the previous question is that with these tools, you can have, or tying the two questions together really, you can have smaller, more nimble teams. So you can start on OpenAI very quickly, but it means that you can also very efficiently, with a smaller team, get a lot further. So it's not just how quickly do you start, but it's also how far you go and what time and how good the product is. How do you iterate? And getting feedback for us is important, but feedback should be important for every founder. You should never build things in silo. Take feedback, communicate, talk, test, do A/B tests, and then iterate. And because of the ability of our tools to be so iterative and so collaborative with the users, it means that you can have those iterations very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's in the creative or the business or the technical or whatever you're doing.
Many of the kind of AI companies that were born in the US tend to be, or started out as very consumer focused. Some would argue that in Europe we have more of a background in enterprise software. Are there certain types of companies that we should be building in Europe where we have an edge versus US?
I think it's good to think about Europe versus US in terms of the potential. I think Europe has the potential to do everything. So, for example, this week I was in Stockholm, where one of the biggest success stories right now is Lovable. It's definitely a consumer story. So it's you can vibe code everything, anything. Anyone can use it, and you just use natural language to talk about the product that you want to build, and then it helps you build it. And there are other companies like that, and that's very B2C, sort of direct to consumer. But in the Nordics, whether it's Finland or Sweden, there's a lot of gaming. There's a lot of fintech applications that are coming direct to users and people with their money. And it's the same thing that can be whether, again, you're in Greece or Estonia or Romania or France or Spain or Lisbon or wherever else. And it's, I think, again, it goes to problems that are worth solving and problems that people feel excited to make a difference in. There's a quote that I love, and I think it was from Jeff Bezos, who said, when trying to predict the future and looking in the future, don't think what it's going to look like and all the things that are going to change. Look at what stays the same. People are always going to have best prices, best choice, best product. So keep building for that. This is never going to change. Build something that is good, that is usable, that people like, give it the best price and be as efficient as you can, continue to iterate in the product, and then give people the choice.
It's very exciting. I mean, traditionally, like Silicon Valley was born out of Stanford and San Francisco. There was a lot of money, like it worked well. I think now with your tools and similar tools, you can raise less capital because you need fewer engineers, and now there is slightly more capital in Europe. Are you expecting democratization in Europe in terms of where the future unicorns will be built now with the availability of tools like yours? Or will it still be anchored around London, Stockholm, Berlin?
So, great question to end on, since I see this flashing. I think every market in Europe has the potential to build a unicorn company and a company that is generation defining. It happened that Lovable that I just mentioned is in Stockholm, but that doesn't stop innovation happening anywhere else. Where the money and the investors are doesn't stop anyone in this room from building a generation defining company. Every investor that I talk to in the US, whether they're Sequoia or whether they are in Europe and they're Defiance, want to find builders who are solving real problems in the best way possible, with the best teams, with the best technology. I have staked my career and my whole life in innovation coming from Europe, Middle East, and Africa. My whole job is to make sure that anyone here that wants to build a company builds it, and to accompany them to make it great. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it is possible to do it out of here.
Well, I don't think OpenAI could have chosen a better...
If you're building, call me. I'll help you.
I don't think OpenAI could have chosen a better European brand ambassador, do you think? I mean, how do you up this? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Reach out to Laura, obviously.
If you need to reach me, I'm lm@openai.com. I will answer. Not right away, but I promise I will at some point.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.